Hey guys, it's your host, Bailey Parker. Welcome to the Stronger Scars podcast, where I invite others to dive deep into the ups and downs of physical and mental sports. All right, everyone. Hello, welcome back to the podcast. This week, we have our first male guest in a very long time to help celebrate Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, November. And I'm joined with Neal McDermott, who I went to high school with. We go way back. And I'm just excited to have you on here to kind of talk about your experience with mental health and sports and everything that comes with that. So first and foremost, why don't you just introduce yourself to everyone?
Hello, everyone. My name is Neal McDermott. As Bailey mentioned, we kind of grew up together, went to high school together. But yeah, so I guess from a personal background, raised in Leechburg, Pennsylvania. I have 3 siblings, all younger. So been the oldest, kind of had to take that leadership role on throughout my life. That's kind of helped my athletic career. Had a pretty successful athletic career in high school. As a lot of athletes who move on to play in college and high school, it's kind of you're the superstar star of the show. And then you get to college and a lot of things, don't go the way you want in a sense. And I guess that's kind of how my story started, not how it's ending. But yeah, so for my athletic career, I played baseball at Seton Hill University, which is in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. It's a Division II school in the PSAC. Been to a few College World Series, which is pretty neat. We went last year, and it's a pretty historic program. So I'm blessed to be a part of the Seton Hill baseball program. But yeah, so going in my freshman year, it was, I was coming off a really high in high school. And I had a really fun and challenging, but successful freshman year. And I was really looking forward, really starting to realize there's a possibility to play baseball at the next level. And I was really excited. And I went that summer, played in a league in Connecticut, which is called the Futures League. A lot of young guys, a lot of young talented guys played in that league, who go on to play professional. And I had a lot of success in that league. It was a lot of fun, met a lot of good guys and built a lot of connections. And after that summer, I don't know, it was different. Baseball for me, coming back to school, for me, it was I had the mindset, it was about playing professional and not having fun. And I kind of lost having fun for the game. I would try to go out and, prove to everyone that I was capable of, being the best person out there. And that kind of hurt me. Going into my sophomore year, it's kind of where it kind of like went downhill in a sense. I went in to pitch a game. There were a bunch of scouts there, which was really exciting at the time. And I went in and I, nicer term, crap the bed. Like for everyone who's familiar with baseball, I couldn't throw a strike, walked like 6 guys. I remember coming off the mound, I went like in the tunnel, I was like crying. I was like, why has this happened? Like, you're doing so well your whole life, you got everything right there, and then you go out and it's just like what, like you just question, you're like, why does this happen? Did I do something wrong? And I guess throughout the rest of that year, I was really trying to prove myself. I was trying to prove to myself that I was still capable of being an elite baseball player. And I mean, I've dealt with failure in the past and everything, but I don't know, it was just different that time. There was that expectation that I set that I needed to be elite. And I wasn't playing because I loved the game. I was playing because I wanted to be somebody that, I wasn't in the past. And throughout that year, as the failures continued, everything started to snowball on me and people started to treat me different. And I don't know if it's because it was like in my head, but I started falling into like some habits that like I never would have before. And it's because you wanted people to like you. And that was always a big thing for me. I was always so scared of people like not liking me. And we'll talk later about a lot of the things I use to, help me get through that. And, but yeah, so after that year, struggled mightily that year. Was able to figure some things out here and there. I learned a lot through that year. And I really wouldn't wish it any other way. I grew more as a person than I think I ever would have. I know baseball was a struggle, but my personal life grew immensely. So the following year, I literally took that summer off and just trained. I was like, my mom was like, you just need a break, And I was like, yeah, but like me, I was like, I don't want to break. Like, I just want to keep going. But during that time, I forgot to mention, I had an injury to my shoulder. It was a slap tear in my labrum. And luckily I didn't have to get surgery. I got a PRP shot and that kind of helped the pain, but also kind of hurt me mentally because I was always thinking about it. It was always in the back of my mind whenever I'd make a throw. I don't want to like make an excuse, like an injury, for the performance, but it's definitely a reason. But yeah, so the following year, it was a really good summer. I didn't play summer ball. I was with my family, friends. It was just awesome to be able to relax, and not really think about baseball and proving myself. So went back, be my junior year, and everything's going well. Go back in the fall, feeling good, and then I get to the first practice, and like there's this like stigma is like everyone's like, I hear like people talking, like I heard rumors like, is Neal going to be back to his normal self, or is he going to struggle like he did last year? And that ate me up like a lot, and I just like was always trying to prove to other people that I was still capable. And like there were times where I was, and then the times that I wasn't, like I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Like I was constantly thinking about like what I could have done better. And it was a grind. It was a grind to get through because I wasn't playing the game because I loved it and I wanted to compete. I was playing the game to try to prove myself that I was still capable of competing at this level. So I went out for my first outing my junior year, and I did fairly well, and it was exciting. I was like, wow, maybe this is the turnaround. Maybe I can, get back to like what myself. And we COVID hit. Yeah, COVID hit.
Yep.
Pretty big event. I don't know if you heard of it, but yeah, so COVID hit, and I was like, wow, like I was like feeling good, and then our season ended. And honestly, I was more hurt for those seniors and everyone who missed out on that last year. But COVID was, I guess, a blessing too. I was able to be with my family, and kind of get back to what's really important in life. So, do everything you do through COVID, quarantine, all that fun stuff, was able to work out. And I was like, all right, came back my senior year. This was last year. So I obviously took my red shirt because I'm still playing. This was last year. Took my senior year. I was like, all right, this is it. Like, I'm back on track. Like, I'm going to go. I'm going to pitch. I'm going to be, have fun with it. Get a chance to play at the next level. And that's when it really like just unfolded. And I set this expectation on myself that just really hindered my performance. So it was one fall practice. I was throwing live, and I think I like walked like 4 guys in a row and walked off the mound. And I looked at my pitching coach, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, I really I don't know. Like, I want to, but like, I've literally done everything. I was like, I feel hopeless. Like, I don't know what to do. And he looked at me, and he's like, you just keep going. He's like, I'm proud of you no matter what. You just keep going. And the next day, my coach pulled me aside, and he was like, I know how passionate you are about the game and how hard you've worked. I want to give you a chance to play the outfield and, take your mind off of pitching. And it's kind of progressed over throughout that year. I didn't play as much last year, but I think I have a really good opportunity to have fun this last year where I'm at and, play baseball because I love it and want to compete, not because I'm trying to prove everything. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff in that story and a lot of techniques and a lot of things I've used, a lot of ups and downs where I was at that we can kind of pick apart. But that's kind of a general overview of past few years in my athletic journey.
Well, I took lots of notes. I kind of want to start with talking a little bit about the mental side of being a pitcher, because I had a lot of good friends like on the team at Notre Dame, and you guys really had to go through it. Like if you're not 100%, like it's just the next guy in, and you only pitch for so many rounds, and then it's like, I just think it's a crazy position and so much goes into it. So kind of just talk about that. I know you said you're in the outfield now, but just
Right.
kind of walk us through like, what it was like how do you get over walking one guy and being ready to do the next one? Like I can't imagine that turnaround, and I feel like there's so much that goes into that someone just watching doesn't really understand.
Yeah, it's tough, especially I guess starting pitching and relief pitching. You go out there once every 4 days. Once every 5 days, if you're a starter, you get one game to prove yourself to compete. And as a reliever, you go in, you don't do well, you barely throw an inning, they take you out, you have to wait like 5 more days or however many pitches you throw again. So I'll talk about the time in between, but I think that really eats people up is the time in between outings. Whenever you throw bad, you have literally 3 to 4 days to sit and think about it without getting a chance to go out and redeem yourself. Like if you're a hitter, you strike out, 2 innings later, you get to go in and, refresh and go. So what you do in those 3 to 4 days kind of dictates or helps that next performance. And something that would always help me was surrendering the outcome. Not like I would throw a pitch, trust my preparation, and just surrender whatever else happens because I can't really control anything else. Like whenever the ball left my hand, if it was 50 feet above the catcher's mitt or right down the middle, like I couldn't do anything about it after I left my hand. So that kind of gave me relief, knowing that my preparation has helped me get to that moment. But yeah, also I guess in between like walks and like bad pitches and stuff like that, breathing is really essential. I know as our team, we do a bunch of breathing work. And it's really, really important because especially, when you're out there, it feels like the game's going so fast and baseball's so slow. Like some people it's boring, like in that it's whatever. Like I get it. It's just a slower game. But whenever you're out there, sometimes the most successful people are the ones who are able to make it feel that slow. And like pitching, like 4 balls thrown in a row, it feels like 4 seconds. But to some people watching, you're probably like, holy crap, this feels like 10 minutes. Can this guy throw a strike? But it's really focusing on one pitch at a time. And it's really easy to say and hard to do because you're out there and you're like, oh no, I have to throw your 3 balls, no strikes. I have to throw 3 straight strikes or else I'm walking this guy. But yeah, for me, like whenever I was struggling or I'd walk 2 guys in a row, my main focus, I would step off. I'd really think like, if I'm throwing this ball as hard as I can and I'm putting everything into it, what else can I do? I'm surrendering the outcome, being confident in my preparation. And I think that's where I've seen a lot of success in the future or in the past. And I think that's where a lot of guys who struggle separating pitch to pitch can find success, is really not letting that last pitch get into the next one. And yeah, I'm really big on, if you have intent behind a pitch, it's a win. It's a win. Like if it's a ball, it's still a win. You had intent to throw a strike. And it's different for some guys. For me, that was a win because I was all over the place. and like I would be scared to throw it as hard as I could because I just felt like I was not going to throw a strike. So if I would throw it as hard as I could and it was a ball, it was a win because I put everything I did into it. And that helped me separate from pitch to pitch and kind of alleviate all that negative vibes that came in whenever things started to snowball.
I think that's really interesting too. Like, I think obviously with your example pitching, but any sport, like if your intentions are there and like you did everything you can to prepare for something, like when you kick the ball, when you pitch the ball, like I like how you said like you surrender, like you're surrendering everything because you did what you can do. And like we're not all going to be perfect all the time. And I think that's so important to acknowledge. Like it's just not going to happen. So what was it like to go to be an outfielder now? Because I don't know all the details of baseball, but a pitcher does not bat, correct? Like you're just the pitcher.
Yeah, right. No, you're right. Yeah, it was crazy. My coach came up to me and was like, "I'll play the outfield." He's like, "We're losing like 7 outfielders next year. I just want you to have fun." And I was so torn, like just like stressed out, beat up to the ground with all this trying to figure out. And I was like, yeah, like I want to have fun playing baseball. And if pitching is able to come back, it's able to come back, but I just want to have fun. And I hit in high school. So it was a transition, not hitting for a few years, but kind of picked up and just was able to really start working hard right away. It's been a lot. Give a lot of credit to my coaches, my friends. Like I got so many texts that next day. Like the guys on my team are the most supportive guys I've ever met in my life. Like let me know whenever you want to hit, I'll be there. If you need anything, let me know, I'll be there. And it's just really good to have that supporting staff, to help you whenever you're going through those rough times. But yeah, so it was a weird adjustment, but it's the most fun I've ever had playing baseball. And I've really become grateful for every opportunity, whether I'm starting, playing on the bench, being a practice player. Like I'm literally just grateful for every opportunity I get. And I feel like the work ethic I've kind of come up with that my parents have raised me with are going to allow me for an opportunity to compete. And it's been an adjustment, but it's been one I've really enjoyed and have kind of handled.
I thought one of the things I wrote down when you were talking in the beginning was like everyone seems to have these easygoing, perfect lives in high school. Like we're all good at sports. Everything's going great. We get recruited to play college sports and then shit hits the fan. And it's like,
you don't know what to do.
I'm speaking from my own experience. I didn't appreciate soccer until I no longer had it because I was hurt. And like for people who don't have to go through that, like I just wish they could stop and realize, like, be grateful that you have the ability to play and like have fun with it. You keep saying like you're having fun now. Like in high school, like I liked soccer, whatever. It was more of a job, but like I wish I had more fun and I wish I really dived into enjoying it. And like just hearing you talk about you had the same experience. Like now things weren't going well. You had to hit adversity and now you're having fun. And I feel like that happens to so many people.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's inevitable. And like as in everything in life, it's kind of how you respond. And yeah, it's a challenge, but I'm grateful for every second of it. And it's allowed me to view things from a different perspective. And also, know that you're more than an athlete. The thing that's kind of helped me through all of this is would I be happy, without baseball? And it took me a while to think about that question. At the time, I was like, heck no, like this is my life. Like I love this. But then I'm like, yeah, I got like a healthy family. Like I got a place to live. Like
how did you get to that? How did you get to that? Because I feel like
so for me, I reached out to a bunch of people. And if anyone's listening to this podcast, I recommend you look up Tyler Matzik and his story. A lot of the things I've learned have come from him. He's faced a situation that it's really hard to come back from, and he just won a World Series this year as one of the best bullpen pitchers in the major leagues. And I reached out to him a while ago, and I would message him every day, and he really helped me through a rough time. Like every time I would go out to pitch, I thought it was like the end of the world. I was so nervous, and I would go out and I would do awful. And then I'd come back and be like, now what am I supposed to do with my life? Like what, like I did awful. I was thinking about it the whole time. Like, now what do I do? I just like lay down and go to bed and get up and do the same thing tomorrow? Like, yeah, you had fun with your friends and everything, and you have that supporting staff, but it only lasts so long because you're doing your sport every day. Like you're a college athlete. I mean, even high school now, like you go and practice every day. And to fail a lot and have someone to talk to about it was really big for me. And that was he really helped me get through it. One of the main things he first told me, because one of my things was like fear of embarrassment of others, like in front of other people. And he's like, yeah, that's similar to what I had and what kind of started for me. And he was like, he has this system. It's called a 3-ring system. And it's like the first ring is those like 1 to 4 people who you're ride or die. Like you care about them, you care about their opinion, you love them. They're like, it's their smallest circle. Those are the people, like, they will give you the criticism you need to hear. And then there's that second ring, be like coaches, even sometimes family members or friends. And these are the people who, like, yeah, they're friends with you, but like, sometimes their criticism, don't really care what they think. And then you got that third ring. It's like the fans, just random people, people you want to impress, stuff like that. Like those people can, like, you can kick rocks. Like, who cares what they think of you? And it's really, as long as you care about that first ring of people, that fear of embarrassment kind of goes away. Because you're really only, like, your goal is not to impress 80,000 people. It's to kind of goes back to like your bigger purpose of like the 4 main people, like it can be like 3 to 4 main people that you really rely on. And I like, it's big for those people to actually know that too, so they can be like, if you reach out to those people and tell them that, those are obviously people you love and trust. They're the most important people in your life. So they're going to be the ones who you can talk to during those times. And that was big for me. That was one of the big things that kind of helped me alleviate that anxiety and embarrassment every time I would, go out and not perform the way I wanted to.
Yeah, I really like that, because
Yeah.
I feel like I've talked about this on episodes before, but like I feel like so much of what we do in sports is for other people. Like we want to impress people. We want people to think we're good. Like so little of it is actually about ourselves. And I never thought of it as that way of like, you feel embarrassed if you don't do well, because not because of yourself, but because of like what other people are going to think of you.
Right. And it's hard, like in the moment, especially right when you fail, you're not thinking like, oh man, like, okay, I'm okay. Like, as long as, it's usually after a while, but right when it happens, you're like, what? Like, you're mad. You're like mad. But like, the more you like are able to learn that it's okay, and like those people are still going to love you no matter what, the quicker you're going to be able to respond. And even if your performance doesn't increase, usually it does. Usually you do get better. Your sake of mind and mental states, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, it's true. Like the people who care about you and love you, like your sport doesn't change those feelings. Like
exactly.
So I like how it's like that first ring.
Yeah, and it's definitely something I still use today.
So kind of going with the same line of other people, and you said that when you weren't performing well, you thought you heard people saying, oh, is Neal going to be back to being good, or is Neal not going to be good? Like, what's Neal going to be like today? How did you kind of handle that? And I kind of want to face this in a way of dealing with it as a guy, because I feel like guys don't really, like, if someone's joking with you about sucking, you have to just like laugh it off. Yeah. Like a girl, like I would go and cry. So how did you deal with that?
Right. It was weird. It was really weird because like there were times like I was, hanging out with my friends. We were chilling, like we're teammates, like we're hanging out, and they're like, oh yeah, like so-and-so is going to be a huge asset for us this year. They're all going to pitch. And then you're just sitting over there like, oh yeah. Yeah. And they like, don't mention your name. And you're like, like you feel like crap, but then you're like, I mean, yeah, I really haven't deserved it. So, but you're like, you don't want to feel that way. You're obviously, you want to play, you want to be like, in a sense, you want to be a guy. So that was always hard, like being in those conversations, like, oh yeah, this dude's really good, like obviously. But and then I guess in another sense, like whenever I was like really struggling with that, there were some, like, I don't know, there were some people that you were like, they were always so nice to you, and then you would struggle, and then they were like, I don't really want to play catch with him. Like, I don't know. And it's just like, all right, I get it. Like you understand, like I was mature enough to understand why, but it doesn't mean that it still sucked and like felt like crap. Luckily there was a lot of good support and friends on this team, that I had a lot of guys who really like picked me up and would do anything for me, and would always like believe in me. But it's just, I don't know, it's tough, and there's really no way around it unless you kind of implement that system, and you really are kind of mature about the way you think, and consciously believe that it really does not matter. It just does not matter at all what they say. You're the one capable of your actions and your thoughts. There's people who can dictate your thoughts, but you're you literally, you have the final say of how you think and respond to those things. So yeah, it's definitely a challenge, and it takes a while to be able to be at peace with those certain things. But if you continue to think and act, I guess, the right way in a sense, or implement that, like for like that ring, the 1, 2, 3 rings, like that first ring, as like the main thing of like, you care about these people's opinions, then it's like, doesn't really matter. Like, who cares?
Do you think that like on your team, does playing time like affect who's friends with who?
Not on my team. No. We have a really, really good culture where I play, and I'm blessed. Some, like before I was like, oh man, what if I didn't go here? Would this have happened to me? Would I still like be able to perform but in a sense I'm grateful, because I wouldn't be the man I am today without all of that. And the team we have was very, very supportive. Like, yeah, you get 1 or 2 guys every now and then who, that's just life. But no, the culture that we kind of established ever since this program was built, has kind of all been about the team. Like the worst players sometimes are best friends with the best players.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, we've kind of built that culture. It's not really about baseball. Like, we all want to win. And like, whenever you go on the field, like that's all that matters. But you're off the field, like, who cares if like you play well? Like, I mean, yeah, you obviously care if you play well, but like, if you're like your best friend like isn't gonna care, like they're gonna love you no matter what. And that's kind of the culture our coaches have instilled in us, that everyone kind of has a role in a different way. And I've been blessed with that surrounding support to be able to have those guys who've, love me no matter what.
Right. So I know when I was texting you, you talked about having anxiety growing up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, like, I knew you for 4 years of my life. Like, I had no idea. And I feel like I get like mental health isn't something you like walk up to someone and you like say, like, hey, I was diagnosed with anxiety.
Right.
But like, if you broke your arm, we would all see that, So I think like it's such a interesting thing that like struggling with mental health, and like for me, like I couldn't have cared less about my mental health until I got hurt in college. So I think it's also just been like, I feel like maybe in high school now it's more introduced, but like we never talked about it.
No, it was never a thing. I mean, like, it was just like, it was never talked about at all. Like, I didn't even know, like, I didn't even know about it. I think you were just like, all right, shake it off, let's go. And you'd be like, all right.
Talk about that experience and like how that kind of, because I know you said like it didn't ever affect your sport life.